What's up, YouTube? It's Ferg Tactical. My name is Jason. Today we'll be talking about what I use to fly with a firearm, what you need to buy to fly with a firearm, how I set my suitcase up and everything like that when I'm flying with my firearm, and basically the whole process of when you get to the airport. So, it'll be different parts of the video, but first off, let's start off with what you need to buy to fly with a firearm. It is not expensive as some of you may think, I promise. And I'm making this video because a lot of my friends tend to ask me what they need to buy or what to do to fly with a firearm. So instead of having to tell them every time, I'll just send them this video, and hopefully this helps a lot of you on the internet too. Not only will we be talking about firearms, we'll also be talking about flying with ammunition as well, because that is something that is commonly overlooked when people make these videos. There's a ton of videos explaining how to fly with a firearm, like, the whole process, but it doesn't really cover what you need to buy. So let's get into it. I'm giving you TSA's guidelines, so that way if you go by that, the airline cannot deny you, because they have to make the rules based off of what TSA allows. So for starters, what do you need to fly with a firearm? You are going to need a hard-sided container that locks. So what does that mean? If you by chance have just a regular Glock case lying around, this will not work because you cannot lock it. You can put the latch down, but you can't lock the gun. There's no place to put a lock on it. There's no keyhole. There's nothing. So this is not gonna fly at all. So you're gonna have a hard time. If you have a case like this, you cannot use it to fly. You can put it in your suitcase and take something else in it, whatever, but as far as a firearm, you cannot put it in this. Now, if you have something like this case, which is for my CZ-P10C, it has an eyelet right here, so you can put lock on that. Now, if you have a case that accepts more than one lock because it has more than one hole, you have to put a lock on each hole. So that kind of becomes annoying if you have, say 2+ locks and you have to open it and show it to the TSA, whatever reason. When you usually go to the gate, they check to make sure the gun's stored properly. So you can use whatever lock, TSA lock or any, little master lock, but like I said, it becomes annoying to have to keep up with that and, opening both of them. It's not something I really want to do. And if you have a case that cannot, this one is really good about not opening, with these closed. With some cases, you can actually open from the side and retrieve the gun out of the case still. So that is not something that you want, and that's not something that is gonna fly. So if you can still slip your hand in and grab the gun out, even while it's locked, you need to find a different case. These plastic cases a lot of times tend to have this kind of plastic mating where it pivots up and down, right? When you're opening and closing it, that's how it, pivots right here. You can really, a lot of times, pop these off. So even if you lock the front, you can still pop the back up. So I really wouldn't use these to fly with, per se. But if you're in a pinch, it meets the guidelines. But like I said, just stay away from these personally. It's cool if you, use it to walk around or transport your gun in and out of your car. But in terms of flying, I wouldn't use this. Now that we got past that, let's talk about what you should and could buy if you don't have a case that you can fly with. These right here are 2 Union safes. You can get these at Harbor Freight, in store or online for like anywhere between like 18 to 25 bucks. So like I said, it's really not expensive. This one's smaller, so if you have a smaller gun, this is better for you. If you have a bigger gun, better for you. I still prefer bigger cases because you can put other things like knives and other mags and stuff in here. So if I'm traveling, I'll take the bigger one, but I don't use these. These are just, if you need something that's cheap and effective. As you see, they have one keyhole in the middle, so you don't have to worry about multiple locks and multiple locking points. And they both have openings right here to accept the tether. They come with one, so that's a plus. Now, the cases I use are these, which is a LifePod 1.0 and a LifePod 2.0. I actually did a review on both of these cases and comparing the difference in dimensions. So if you're curious about that, I'll put the video up top and you can go check it out. But basically, I like these because, one, they're watertight, so if anything were to spill in your suitcase, you don't have to worry about the contents getting wet, because, you may not just be carrying the firearm in there by itself. And on top of that, I really don't want my gun getting wet, so, they float for whatever that's worth. And for function purposes, this another one is exactly the same. This one's just bigger. But when you go to the gate, you can just put your little code in, whatever, opens up, show them what's going on, put it back down, just press the button and it locks. So if the battery does die, it also has a backup, which is a little keyhole right here that you can open it. You can't lock it with the key, but you can at least open it if you need to. So I prefer these also because they're lighter. So between the two, the smaller case is about $109 last time I checked. I bought this one, I think it was like $109 or $110. This one was like $140 or $150. But all this stuff, you know, you can get these for under 200 bucks. So if you're just, most people, I travel kind of heavy, you know, I take multiple mags and, you know, mag carriers and a holster or two, sometimes a gun or two. So I like to kind of have all my stuff contained within these, even if it doesn't need to be, like my holsters. So I tend to take two, but these are a lot lighter than the middle ones. So, you know, you kind of get what you pay for. I prefer these. So the Union and the Vaultec are the two safes I have, but you can go with other brands like Pelican and things of the sort. As long as you secure them properly and you lock them up properly when you're flying, you're good. Just make sure it's a hard-sided case and it can lock and it's not accessible from the side or the back or whatever when it is locked. Now, in terms of ammunition, what can you use? A lot of times when you look at the airlines and their guidelines, they'll tell you the ammunition needs to be in the original box or something like this, right? So for the most part, a lot of people aren't gonna have the original box for ammunition. You know, some people are, some people aren't, but personally, like in a lot of my carry guns, I throw those boxes out. So if I carry it, the mags stay full and I don't have the original box. I mean, I have other boxes, but I really don't want to go out and like, oh, let me take these out and put that in there. So the airline will tell you that you need to have the ammo in the original box, most airlines at least, but TSA guidelines just say it needs to be in a container that separates each round individually. So it can be plastic, wood, and I think one other material, but basically what I suggest, you can get these off of Amazon for like $3 or $4, 50 rounds, 100 rounds, different various sizes, but they hold the rounds individually. I've flown with this and it's the same as this would be by TSA guidelines, as long as you know it's in the proper packaging. You don't need to have the original packaging. So if you look at your airline and it says that that's not the case, you do not need to have the original packaging. So on the cheap end, if you're tight for money, you can have all this for under 40 bucks. This is $3 or $4, and you can even get the big one of these for like 25 or under. Or if you bought ammo, you can just transport it in the original packaging. But to be honest with you, you get way more uses out of this, and this is just better in my opinion. Now that we got that out the way, you guys know what you need to buy to fly with the firearm. Like I said, you can use whatever product you like that fits those criteria, but as long as the box you have and the ammo carrier you have meet those guidelines, you're fine. Now that we got that out the way, I'm going to show you guys how I travel with my firearm and how I set it up in my suitcase. It's not going to be the typical way I do it because my girlfriend and I are flying together and we are using the same suitcase and we're taking both of our firearms. So it's going to be a little different than what I typically do because I like to have a dedicated box for the gun and the ammo and then a separate box for the holster and the mags. I don't think that's going to work because, like I said, we're taking both guns, so I'll probably put two guns in one box and then put the ammo in another box and maybe try to fit our mags in there. If not, I may take a third box and I'll show you guys how I'm doing it, but I'm not trying to add too much weight to the suitcase, especially with the metal boxes, so we'll see. But if I do take a metal box, it'll probably be the smaller one. So we'll be leaving tomorrow, and as we are packing stuff up, I'll get back with you guys and show you what I'm doing.
Just to give you guys an idea of what you could do for your setup. Typically I have the gun over here, you know, obviously it's unloaded. The rounds here, put my knife here, and then usually have a second one with all the mags I'm taking, mag carrier, whatever. And then I'll usually put the holster in this as well, because usually that will fit a holster if you're just taking one extra mag. So this is our first time flying with each other and flying with firearms, so it's kind of a learning curve of how we're orchestrating this and taking the same suitcase. So being that we're trying to keep, you know, the weight down, you guys saw the other metal cases I had. We didn't want to bring those. We just tried to keep it to these two since we're using one suitcase. So this is kind of the setup we have. Ignore the rounds in here. I'm taking these out to put them in here. I'm just kind of test fitting everything. So as long as they're sitting up like this, you should be able to fit everything in there just like that. So this will close down and be encased right there. And we got the guns right there. I had to take the flashlight off because this is a full-size firearm and it was sticking out a little bit. So this wasn't allowing us to sit flush. Always want to make sure you kind of leave these on the top and easy to access once you open the suitcase, because they're going to ask you most times to look at the firearms, make sure you have them stored properly, and you don't want to be digging all through the bag trying to find your stuff. On a side note, I've seen people try to use these magazines as actual ways to transport ammunition, that's not a good idea because it's against TSA guidelines. So you may get some gate agents who just allow it, but that's not how it's supposed to be done. So they do also make mags so you can slide over this and it covers the top, you know, because it's technically like encased and secured, but no, they don't really want that. So most of the time they're going to give you a hard time and tell you that it's not going to work out for you. Then you can't fly with your round. So don't try to use your mags as a way to transport ammo. And the mags have to be contained within a case as well, a hard-sided container. You can put them in the same box, but in this case, you know, don't have space. But the ammo, the mags, and the firearm do need to be in a hard-sided case.
All right, so we are about to get an Uber, which is why we had to unload everything here where we parked the car at. So as you guys can see, mags are separate, ammo's in its own box separate, guns are separate. Always make sure your firearms are completely unloaded, meaning chamber empty, no mag inside of there. And we have the holsters packed in here, and that's pretty much it. So gotta get to the airport and then we'll show you guys the process.
So we made it to the airport. Just keep in mind that when you are flying with firearms, you do need to go up to the counter. You can't do curbside check-in for your bags. Also carrying 2 firearms.
Your firearm? Okay. Let me see your ID. Now, you each have one or you have 2?
One's mine.
So you each have. Can I see your ID? Okay.
So do you need me to show you anything or just lock it up? Or?
No, not yet. I'll give you
Okay.
checks. Okay, now you can open it. Let me see. And it's locked?
Yeah, it's locked up. Right.
Any ammunition?
Ammunition separate, yeah.
Anything more than 11 pounds?
No. So in this case here, and the ammo's in that case. Should we open it up?
No, you don't have to open it, as long as it's locked.
This one.
Yeah. Okay, so just sign here for me and date. I'm going to place this.
My question is, because last time I flew with my firearms, I had to pick it up in the office, so when I get to Seattle...
Yeah, it's the same. So when you get to Seattle, it's not going to come out of the bag.
Right, it'll be in the office. Okay,
Yeah,
so...
because of
Right. So you don't want
the 2 tags. I think I gave you both just in case.
Okay.
The other one is in the back.
Okay.
And that's your receipt and your 2 tags. Hold on to that until you pick up your bag.
Okay.
All right?
Right.
You're all set?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Oh, you're welcome.
All right, so we are here waiting to get on the plane, and she was trying to keep the camera kind of back so it wouldn't like make the TSA agent uncomfortable, or the person at the front. That's not a TSA agent, but the person at the front uncomfortable. But the camera kind of went out of focus because she had it down and she couldn't see when it like unfocused. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So you guys just walk up and tell them that you are declaring a firearm, and they check to make sure that you have the firearm stored properly. And after that, they put a tag on top of it. I don't know if she caught that on camera, but they put a tag, a little orange sticker tag that you sign. They put it on top.
It was out of focus. I caught it, but it was out of focus.
She tried. But yeah, after that, they send it off. And all you have to do now is go to the room to pick it up. There's a separate room because obviously it has certain things in there that you just can't put on the carousel because anybody can pick it up. So you give your ID and you pick it up. That's pretty much it. I'll show you guys, but you know, camera was out of focus. So I just wanted to reiterate what you just saw. So we are gonna go here to pick up our bags because obviously you can't put certain items like firearms on the carousel. Right over here. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer because they gotta put it off to the side.
So it comes out with the oversized, you know, but if you don't get it right from the oversized, it'll be in this little office typically, and you just have to show your ID.
You also have to, yeah, they zip tie your shit closed when you
Which is good.
have a firearm, which is good.
But yeah, so okay, cool.
So if you've made it to this point in the video, we've already gotten our firearms, we made it to our destination, and it's not a hard process. So if people tell you it's hard or it's annoying, it's really not. It's just a matter of following the guidelines properly, making sure you're going by the rules and regulations of the TSA, so that way you don't find yourself in any legal trouble or just trouble trying to get on your flight. Just keep in mind that they will zip tie your bag. So when you go to retrieve your bag, it's gonna be hard to open. Typically, I can just pop the zip tie off, but in this case, I wasn't able to because they use some heavy duty zip tie. And I asked the lady, I was like, hey, can you cut the zip tie off for me? I'm not gonna open the bag till I get outside. But she's like, no, you have a firearm. I can't do it. And I was like, okay, understand, whatever. So I had to wait until I got outside.
once I retrieve my bag, when I got outside to where people get picked up at, then you can, you know, open your bag there, but you can't open it inside because you technically be in possession of a firearm inside the airport, and you can't do that. So just wait until you get outside to open the bag. TSA does allow you to travel with scissors under 4 inches per their website. I'm gonna start keeping scissors in my bag so that way I can cut the zip tie off in the future, because it was a pain trying to get into my bag, and that can pose an issue if you need your firearm just to protect yourself, or if you even need something from your bag, like, I don't know, change some underwear or something. Now you can't get into it because you have nothing to open it with. My knife was jammed in the bag as well, so.
For the ammos and stuff, is it under 11 pounds?
Yeah.
So you guys are gonna sign a date, and then that goes in and then your fee will be $30 just for the bag. But you guys can close it up right now. Here's your bag tag receipt. Yeah. And so you guys are gonna take it over to TSA.
The bag?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, so you don't take it?
No. So you guys are gonna take it down to the TSA. You're just gonna go down that way. There's a sign that says Air Canada. On the right, there's like a window. That's TSA. Let's just drop it right now.
Okay.
So right now we're currently being held up on the way back to Miami because, see, my case is right over there. I take my case with me to the range a lot, so I think it's some leftover powder residue because they have a swab that he put inside of it. Not every airport does this. I've never had anyone do this before, but what I might do is I might get a separate case just for flying if this is going to be an issue, because I take that case to the range a lot. That's what I usually transport my stuff back and forth with. So we're here. Luckily, we got here with enough time, but right now we gotta wait for somebody to come up and inspect it before they send our bags off. Her case already passed, but like I said, mine is, you know, he swabbed your case, so trust me, he swabbed the whole suitcase. But
Because I don't take it with the to the range.
yeah, you don't take it to the range. I take mine to the range, and I don't know, maybe it's even the oil. I don't know what they're picking up, but just keep that in mind, guys. So if you, like I said, every airport does stuff different. So, you know, if you're traveling with it, it might be best to just get a whole separate one for just traveling. And, you know, that way, if you take yours to the range, you have one for traveling, you don't have to worry about this. But I know that for next time. Never dealt with this before, so. Yeah. We are flying back, well, we flew back into Fort Lauderdale Airport, which is ground zero for when they had that airport shooting. So they're like really strict over here about the bags. So if you guys are flying into Fort Lauderdale Airport, expect this. They have it going around the bag, over the top, over the bottom. It's really, really like heavy duty zip ties. I thought the one in Washington was bad, but it's my first time flying into Fort Lauderdale with a firearm. I usually fly out of Miami, so just, yeah, if you're flying into Fort Lauderdale, be prepared. Make sure you have you some TSA approved scissors for sure, or if you're getting back to your car or whatever, somebody pick you up, a knife, because you're gonna need it. This is no joke. Big zip ties. So if you made it to this point in the video, you can confidently say now you know how to travel with a firearm. I showed you both ways going to and from where we were. So if there are any other questions you guys have, please feel free to drop them in the comments if there's anything I didn't cover. I think we covered everything aside from traveling with rifles, so I may do a video on that in the future, but it's kind of the same process as long as you have a case big enough to carry the rifle in, and locks, and, you know, everywhere around the case you have locks and all that. But this was just more so handguns, but this also applies to rifles as well, or, you know, rifle caliber pistols, like an AR pistol. But if there's anything I didn't cover that you guys have a question about, let me know in the comments. And if there's anything you want me to make a video on further or touch on further, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching.